Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video we're going to be doing a bridal inspired set of nails. I was having a bit of a conversation with one of my nail tech friends and we was talking about creating our sort of set of dream bridal nails, and I thought I've never really done anything like that before, and I haven't actually done many bridal sets or when I've worked on clients in the past, so I thought it was something fun to do. So I thought I would do it as today's video in case you guys have any bridal designs coming up and you might need some inspiration. Now, one of the things about bridal nails is, of course, they're a very special set to the bride, so they are going to differ wildly, and I know a lot of people would go for quite a subtle set, but this is the kind of a vibe I would want to go when I get married. So I really hope you all enjoy the video. Now I'm starting off here. I'm going to be doing an ombre with pink tint, coconut and Moonlight Pearl. So we actually have a few of my favourite colours here with the pink tint and the Moonlight Pearl. I'm sure in plenty of videos you've heard me mention how much I love Moonlight Pearl. So I wanted to do an ombre between pink tint and Moonlight Pearl, but I thought it would be better off on the first coat to do a layer of coconut. So here I've got pink tint and coconut and I'm blending those two together. Now I did think this might be a little bit of a tricky ombre to start with because the coconut is very pigmented, but surprisingly it blended together effortlessly. I think where pink tint has a really pretty shimmer in it, it makes it a really easy colour for any kind of ombre. So as you can see, I'm just taking my ombre brush and I start off by blending the line where the two colours meet, and then I'm going to go into the pink tint a little bit and blend that into the centre, and then I'm going to go into the coconut a little bit and blend that into the centre. I've also got one of the Kiki London alcohol pads to my side, and that's what I regularly wipe my brush off onto. If you end up with too much gel in your ombre brush, it makes it a little bit harder to ombre, and it also means you're taking one of the colours into the other one a little bit too much. So I do regularly wipe that off. That's the first coat done. I do find that the first coat on an ombre never looks perfect. You're always going to get that better blend on the second coat. So onto our second coat, we're going to be doing it slightly different because we're going to be using the Moonlight Pearl in place of the coconut. So I'm going to come in and apply the pink tint exactly the same as we did on that first coat, taking it down over that blend. I've kind of took the pink tint roughly just over halfway down the nail. I did more on the first coat just because the coconut is very pigmented, but on the second coat I didn't take it down as far because the Moonlight Pearl is a lot more softer. So I'm going to apply that Moonlight Pearl exactly the same, pushing it up into that pink tint so that the two colours meet. Just make sure to check your brush that you haven't contaminated any of it with the first colour you had on the nail. And then exactly the same as before, blending those two colours together. So I'm starting off in the centre and just going backwards and forwards. Where now we're working with two shimmery colours, the blend is effortless. You probably could have done this without having the coconut underneath, but where Moonlight Pearl is a little bit soft, I prefer to have a brighter colour underneath just so it helps make that Moonlight Pearl really pop, especially when you're doing a design like this. As you can see though, this blended together even easier than pink tint and coconut, and I love the effect that it gives off. For me personally, whenever I do my own bride nails, I definitely will be including ombres, and I love a little bit of shimmer. So these two, I'm so glad I chose these two colours. So I did this on two of the nails. This would be the middle finger and the ring finger. So I did the second nail exactly the same off camera. And then over the top of these, I want to add some floral decals. Now, I really love these ones. I believe they're called Pink Florals, but I will double check and leave a link in the description box below. As you can see, I've used them before. They are one of my favourite sheets out of the Kiki London water decals. So I've cut them out as close to the image as possible. And then I've got my little pot of water, my jelly stamper, my angled nail art brush and my Kiki London Silicone Tool. So whenever I'm doing anything like water decals or foils or stamping, I like to make sure I have everything I need close by on my desk, because especially when you're working on a client, it makes it a lot easier if you've got everything to hand, and it makes doing the set in general a lot less stressful. So I placed my image face down onto the jelly stamper, dampened the back of it with some room temperature water, and then you'll see after around 10-15 seconds, that image, the backing paper is going to slide effortlessly off that image. Then because we've got it down on the stamper, you're able to look through your stamper and place it down. I was originally going to have this going over the fade, but then I really liked how that fade looked, so I decided I didn't want to cover it up. Now, these particular water decals, they do pop more over a whiter base, but because we're doing a bridal set, I kind of didn't mind that they looked a lot more subtle over the pink tint. But if you did want these to pop a little bit more, you could always do this ombre the other way around, to have the white down at the cuticle area and the pink at the tip, which is like a reverse baby boomer. Then the decal will pop a little bit more with a white background. But I do find that these are very colourful and pigmented water decals. They just look slightly different if you've got a colour underneath rather than the white. So I went for popping that first decal up in the left hand corner. So on this now, I believe I go on the right hand side, just so it kind of flows across the nail. So if you was wearing them on a set, it would look aesthetically pleasing to the eye. So exactly the same as before. Application wise, it's really simple when you are using the jelly stamper technique. If you don't have a jelly stamper, you can still apply these water decals in the traditional way by just soaking them in your pot of water and using some tweezers. I do have quite a few water decal videos up on the channel, and I do try and mix it up application wise so there's something for everyone. But I do find, as long as you've got your tacky layer still down on your gel polish, the jelly stamper method is probably the easiest, because I find this way you get very minimal bubbles and creases in your water decals. You'll see that I just go over with the silicone tool, like very minimal, to be honest. You'll get the odd crease, or I'm just mainly going over it to make sure it has adhered down fully, because applying them with the jelly stamper means you do get hardly any bubbles or creases. And I didn't just want to add the one flower, so that was why I added a leaf each side as well, just to make that water decal appear a little bit bigger, so it covers a little bit more of the surface area of the nail. So that's those two nails done for now. I'm not going to add anything else to these, because although I'm not overly about subtle nails, I do like quite full-on nail design, lots of nail art, different things going on, different nails. I still wanted these to look a little bit more subtle than my regular designs, so that's why I just left those as that. Now on this nail, we're going to start off by doing one coat of pink tint. Now I even think one coat of pink tint looks lovely and natural, so even you don't necessarily have to do 2 coats if you don't want to. It will depend on the natural nail that you're working on top of, if there's any imperfections or anything like that that you might not necessarily want showing through. But for a really natural look, you could get away with 1 coat. 2 coats really does make that shimmer pop. I love the shimmer running through this one. It has kind of like gold effect flecks, but then it looks a little bit purpley as well. Now I'm going to take my Kiki London nail art palette. I really love this palette. It comes in multiple colours, but I especially love the white marble. Especially if you do nail videos, I think it looks really nice having a plain simple colour in the background of your video. So the white one is my favourite. I'm then going to take a little bit of coconut and the stripe liner brush, because we're going to start off by doing a French on this nail. Now, although I find French nails the hardest design to do, whether I'm working with gel polish or acrylic, they are the one thing I struggle with. I know that French is very bridal. I see so many bridal nails where they're a full set of French nails. I personally wouldn't want that on myself, but I definitely would want 1 or 2 included in the set. So for this set, we're going to have 1 French nail, but I didn't want it to be that bright white, pink and white French, especially where we've got the pink tint. So I'm going to do my first coat of the French with coconut, and then we're going to come over the top with the Moonlight Pearl, which is going to pull together the ombre nails in the set as well. Now lately, I've been really enjoying doing my French nails this way. You'll see that I do them a couple of different techniques in different videos, but I'm really loving doing them this way, where you just start off, you find the center part of the nail, and then you go down to how far deep you want your smile line to be, and then you just draw out from across from the center to one side and then the center from the other side. And then of course you can come in and neaten that up or sharpen it up with your stripe liner brush. The stripe liner brush does, although I said French nails are quite hard to do, or I find them hard to do, the stripe liner brush does make them a lot easier. Now what I'm going to do is I wanted this, you'll see there's quite a lot of white. Usually when I do a French nail, I have quite an extended nail bed, but I didn't want to go for that look in this design because I want to add some water decals as well. So I wanted there to be a bit more white to work on top of. So that's why my white is a little lower down than what I would normally do it. However, for the nail bed, that does look quite natural because an extended nail bed isn't necessarily the natural look. Here I'm just coming in with my round nail art brush and I'm just neatening up that smile line, getting the gel polish nice and crisp. I'm just doing this by wiping my round brush onto an alcohol pad. And then you're able to mess around and perfect that smile line as much as you want before popping it in to cure. So as I said, rather than doing 2 coats of coconut for that bright crisp white, I'm going to be coming over the top with Moonlight Pearl. It's really hard to pick up Moonlight Pearl on camera. It has such a beautiful pearlescent effect to it. I say it every time I use it, but I wish there was more Kiki colours like this. I think this would look really pretty in like a lilac and a pink. So hopefully that happens one day. You can pop Moonlight Pearl over any colour and it gives off a slightly different effect. I will have to try that and show you guys some swatches of it because it's such a beautiful colour and I feel like it's so underrated, but it's one of my favourites. So I'm going to come in, same as before. It's always a lot easier doing your second coat because you've already got a line to follow. So I just use my stripe liner brush to go right over the top of the smile line we'd created in coconut. And then I'm using the bottle brush to paint on the rest of the tip. And I just think it looks absolutely beautiful, especially with the shimmer with the pink tint, rather than having the pink tint shimmer and then a plain white. You've got the nice shimmery white as well. So I'm going to pop that second coat in to cure for 30 seconds. And as I said, I wanted to add some decals. So I've cut out another one from that pink decal pack and I'm going to apply exactly the same as before. So I'm putting a little bit more water on this one. It is a slightly larger image and I do find that you can't necessarily add too much water. It will take a little bit longer to dry the more water you apply, but it does soak into that backing paper quite quickly. And once you remove the backing paper, you're removing a lot of the water with that anyway. And then here I'm just playing around. This is what I love about the jelly stamper method. You're able to look through your jelly stamper and see how that would look on the nail. So I'm just playing around until I'm happy with how it's positioned, and then I'm going to press it down. This was a larger decal, so I'm making sure to really smooth that out, but you can see where the color pops that little bit more on the white over the pink, but I thought it looked really pretty going over the French rather than just having it in one corner. So in this particular design, that would have been the pointer finger. So we're now going to move on to the little finger. So I have already done 2 coats of pink tint, same as what we did on the French nail. And then I'm going to be applying crystals to this nail. So I'm coming over the top with the no wipe rubber top coat. And we're going to be applying our crystals into the wet top coat. So don't pop this into cure yet. And then here we have our crystals. So I think this is the antique rose and the crystal cut or the crystal clear. Again, I'll double check and leave the names in the description box below because I'm not at my desk right now. And then I'm going to be using the Kiki London dotting / gem tool to apply this. So this tool has the waxy end on one end and your dotting tool on the other end. I really love the dotting tool end for moving my crystals into place and nudging them around because it's really fine. So you'll see here you're able to really push them into place. So I kind of had a little look on Pinterest and just had a little look at crystal placement designs. But then when I started recording, I changed my mind about what I was doing. So I kind of just was going with the flow. I wanted to make sure I had kind of like just a subtle cluster going down the center of the nail, but I didn't want it to be too blingy because I wanted to still lean on that subtle side. So I've just kind of gone 1 clear, then 2 of the antique pinks, and then a larger clear, then 2 of the larger pinks, and kind of just worked my way up in size. The larger ones in the center are the biggest size that I'm going to be using. Then I'm kind of just framing down with smaller ones as I go. One of the things I love about working in the rubber top coat method with your crystals is you're able to play around as much as you wanted. You could get to this point and decide, you know what, I want to move around some of the previous crystals I've applied and still be able to move them around as much as you want. You do need to be careful when you're moving them around because of course you're going to be moving around the top coat as well, but you're able to play around with your placements as much as you like and they're not going to cure. I personally would struggle to do a design like this if I was using nail glue because the crystals set so quickly when you're using a glue, where with the gel it's not going to set until you pop it into cure. So as you can see, we're working down the nail, kind of doing that same pattern of either one and then two crystals at the side or three. I did pick up the odd caviar bead. I think I only used one or two just to fill in a few little gaps as we're going through the design, just where it was too small to fit a teeny tiny crystal, but there was an ever so slight gap. So like here up at that cuticle area, I didn't want to add any more crystals there because it was just a teeny tiny gap that I wanted to fill in. And then here at the side as well, I do think the caviar beads do help bulk out a design without adding any additional crystals, but I didn't want to add too many because they don't look as pretty as crystals. So once you are happy with your crystal application, you can pop that into cure for 60 seconds and that's going to freeze all those crystals in place. Now I then wanted this set of nails to be matte, as you all know, a matte finish is my absolute go-to. So I'm going to come in with the Kiki London No White matte top coat and just apply this to all of the nails. Now I do usually recommend that you seal in your water decals with the No White rubber top coat because the rubber top coat is a little bit thicker. It helps create a nice smooth finish. However, the matte top coat does still work perfectly to seal them in. I've worn decals on my nails with just the matte top coat over the top and they've not peeled or chipped at all. However, if you did want that extra layer of strength, or if you're quite hard on your nails, you could pop a very thin layer of the rubber top coat over the top to seal in your water decals and then come in after you've cured that with your matte top coat. Now when it comes to the crystal nail, you want to be really careful you don't get any of your top coat on the crystals, whether it be a matte top coat or a glossy top coat, because it will dull their shine, because it will round off the cut of the crystals. So just be really careful. If you're not confident doing it with your bottle brush, you can use the detail brush and get really nicely around them. Going around the edge of the crystals really helps give them an extra layer of protection when it comes to sealing them in as well. And this, guys, is the finished result. I really loved how they turned out, and I definitely think they could be either a bridal or a spring set of nails, so I hope you all enjoyed watching. Before we get to the end of the video, I did want to quickly mention that Kiki London have a sale coming up on their website, so do keep checking the social media for when that starts. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up or leave us a comment below. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.